All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Give me a touch on the top prop bets in the NBA Summer League today. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Quick recap from yesterday. It was a fine day picks-wise, 4 for 5 on the day, ended up with a half a unit of profit, had 2 DNPs, which was a little bit unfortunate with the underdog slip, but no complaints, solid day as a whole. Let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. I will be skipping over this Bucks-Wizards game, probably going to be live by the time this video gets uploaded. So we're going to jump into the Pacers versus the Cavaliers. 3.5 point spread, 182.5 is going to be the over and under. So a pretty high scoring game, one of the highest scoring game that we're going to be able to target here. So definitely interesting there. And so starting with the Pacers, we're going to see that they are still giving their players heavy minutes. Now they're 1 for 3. The Cavs are 1 for 3 on the Summer League thus far. The question is kind of what are they going to do minutes wise? Are they going to still give these guys heavy minutes, at least for the guys that we're getting props for, which is going to be Furphy and Walker? They both have been shooting the basketball a lot. Furphy has kind of been lackluster in terms of his performances. Walker has been someone that had a bad game last game in terms of points, but we can see 11 rebounds, 6 assists. So I don't mind the lines that we're getting on him. At the same time, it feels correct. I don't want to bet on someone that's susceptible to having a poor night shooting. Now it is a high scoring game, so yeah, if we were trying to pick a prop bet to use from this game, his over points, maybe PRA on pick 6 where we're getting a slight edge there, 27, that'd probably be the route I would go with. At the same time, we don't have to necessarily do that because, well, we're going to have better prop bets that pop up throughout this video. So we look at Johnny Furphy, and we're going to see that his lines are all the same across the board. I'm a little bit shocked at the points for him, 15.5. He hasn't exactly been dominating, had one good game. Now he is shooting the basketball a bunch, 1 for 8 from 3-ball range. That's bad, but he did shoot the 3-ball 8 times, right? Say he goes 3 for 8 instead. Then he's at 14 right there. He definitely just had a poor night shooting. So that is someone that I do probably prefer to pass up on. Now we jump into the Cavs side of this game. I am interested to see if anyone's going to sit. Craig Porter sat in the last game for him. Probably going to happen again. I don't think he needs to prove himself anymore. Nance is someone that probably will get minutes. The player I'm wondering about is Imani Bates. He's had a pretty good summer league thus far. Really, in the last 2 games, he hasn't shot the basketball as well as you would like for sure, but he is still shooting a lot, does have a high usage rate. He is someone that, man, he just needs to put on some size. And he's been vocal about that as well, where he's just a little bit too skinny for the NBA. And if he does put on some size, he'd be definitely more interesting, I would say. And I will say, if we were going to chase this game just because it is a high scoring game, obviously we'd want to be targeting the overs then. He'd be someone I'd be fine with betting the over with, but at the same time would feel like we're forcing it. Again, the reason why I would like that is just because he is shooting the basketball a lot and does have a high usage rate, especially if we're betting on Craig Porter to be out again, then that should help him out as well. So then we look at Jalen Tyson, and we are getting a slight prop line difference with his points between PrizePicks and Underdog, 13.5 on PrizePicks today, and his PRA as well. Now he is someone that I am a little bit worried to bet on him in terms of points. He had 21 points in the last game, but that was on 9 shot attempts, got to the free throw line 9 times, okay, and I just don't want to bet on the summer league whistle, if that makes sense. That is just going to lead to results that are not predictable. That's going to lead to more randomness if we're tracing the whistle, okay? Looking at it, though, he obviously had a high usage rate there, 9 assists, 11 rebounds. So, to me, if we were trying to bet on him, I probably would want to go more towards maybe a PRA or rebounds. And so maybe 6.5 rebounds is the way to go. Maybe points, rebounds, and assists. Just kind of, again, betting on him having a high usage rate, having 11 rebounds. Well, can't bet on that, but having a lot of rebounds and assists as well. So I don't mind that. Again, that game does seem to be like a game stack opportunity. All right, now we jump into the next game. We got the Knicks versus the Hawks. The Hawks are kind of in an interesting spot just due to some players potentially sitting. But because of that, we're not getting any lines for them. Windler was someone that sat out 2 games ago, played last night, and he's the only one we're probably going to get props for because it makes sense. But he is someone that did play last night on Friday, sat out the previous game, and so with this being a back and a back-to-back, what's the likelihood of him potentially sitting? I don't think we need to spend too much time on this one, unfortunately. We are getting some slight prop line differences for him for what that's worth. If you guys like any prop bets here, I just want to show that to you guys. Then we jump into the New York side of this game. Tyler Kolek, again, he was someone that I thought, over 7 assists yesterday would be a good bet. mostly because it had a strong chance of being a push. And it was tilting. That was a bet that I did end up making on some slips. He got to like 6, I think, like minutes into the third quarter, and then ended up with 7, which was kind of tilted there. But that was kind of the point, is that it just had a strong chance to be a push because we could bet on him gaining a lot of minutes. Now, he is someone that has had a weird summer league, I would say. Hasn't scored that many points. Only one game where he really went off. 3-ball hasn't been dropping for him. But Dwayne Washington is going to be out again tonight. And so what can we expect from Tyler Kolek tonight? Now, that is tough to say. And sorry, Washington did play last night. He was questionable on DraftKings if you look at it. But he did only play 23 minutes, which I did think was interesting. So that I think that is worth noting, because obviously if Washington's going to be off the court, that's going to lead to a little bit more usage to Tyler Kolek. I just don't feel like we need a bet on him now. At one point today, his assist was at 6, but now it's at 7, so no point to really target that one as well. So kind of an annoying start thus far. We'll jump into the Bulls versus the Lakers. The Bulls are coming in off of an overtime game. This is a 2.5-point spread. 178.5 is going to be the total for this game. So, decently high scoring, especially compared to the next game that we'll get into. But looking at it, I want to start with the Bulls. So we do have a slight little middle here where the points is off seemingly by 1 for Mattis. And his PRA is off by 1 as well. Now, he had a bad night shooting last night. He is just struggling. You could tell it was an off night. I was watching that game. You could tell it was an off night. Did get the shot attempts up that you would want. But the fact that we're getting his points line still high after a poor night shooting, I'm a little bit worried about it. And it did seem like he was really trying to force stuff last night rather than kind of let the game come to him. That's a good thing and a bad thing. It almost felt like his teammates were a little bit annoyed by him, honestly, was my biggest worry. And why wouldn't they be, right? A guy that's forcing up shots every time he gets the ball, 1 for 6 from 3, 4 for 17 from the field. But again, the reason why I kind of liked him yesterday was one, the big prop line difference that we were getting. That was the one that missed yesterday on pick 6. A little bit unfortunate because if that one hits, it's a pretty big day. We're not getting as big of a prop line difference today between pick 6 and underdog. But again, if you guys wanted to try that middle, you could. But he is still shooting a lot, so there is that potential there. Jumping into Sanogo, who had another good game. I was actually thinking he could get less minutes last night. No, he actually ended up getting more minutes last night than he typically does. 28 minutes in that game. And so, all right, why was that? Does he have the potential to sit tonight on the back end of a back-to-back? Kind of an established guy for them. He's a two-way contract player for them, so he is going to be playing for them this regular season. I could see him sitting, and maybe they try to get a better look at Julian Phillips, who has been playing well. Stewart had himself a very good game. He was impressive last night. But that's why we're not going to get props for those other guys. That's why we're getting props for Sanogo, because it is a guessing game as to how many minutes he's going to get. Obviously, if he gets I would say 25 minutes, I would like his over PRA. I would like his over points, but I just can't guarantee that. We can't lock that in. Sure, I do expect Gonzalez to get more production tonight in terms of points, in terms of making some more buckets, but I didn't like the way he forced it, so I just don't need to touch on that, I think, anymore. So if you guys want to do a middle with him, you can. Let's jump into the Lakers now. So we do have Dalton Connect here, still shooting the basketball a bunch, but because of that, his lines are correct. I think his line at 19.5 is the perfect line. If I was making my own lines for this, I'd put it at 19.5. So I just don't think we're getting an edge there. He's going to shoot a lot, should be able to get to around 19 points. Again, don't see a big edge there. We jump into Bronny James, who finally had himself 2 consecutive good games. Didn't look lost in the last game either. You could argue two games ago, had a productive game because Connect was out. Then he had another good game with Connect in, so maybe there's something there. Maybe he's settling into the league a little bit. I guess it's worth pointing out that if we look at Bronny James' PRA at 14.5, a potential for a slight middle there for you guys, but again, that's just nothing too crazy. And we'll look at Castleton as well. Castleton's another one where I just think the lines that we're getting on him are seemingly correct. I have been surprised by the lack of minutes that he's been getting. Not getting 30 minutes is alarming. So just another person that I just don't feel the need to bet on. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into this Pelicans versus Denver game. This is where we are going to find our really good props for the day. Low scoring game, don't like that, but a close scoring game. So we do like that. And so I want to start with kind of the obvious outlier that we have here, Jordan Hawkins. We're going to see that his PRA is set at 25.5 on underdog. Points is set at 16.5. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. We're going to jump into pick 6 now. His points on pick 6 is set at 15.5. Not a big difference. We look at his PRA, massive difference. That should never be happening. And so this is one where I do want to be attacking. So I mentioned some of those other bets that we have potentials for middles. I will be running that out with Jordan Hawkins here, where I'm betting his over on pick 6 and then betting his under on underdog, because 1 is a lot already to be off for a line to be off by 1. That should not be happening. And I guess it makes sense with Summer League a little bit, but 4 should never be the case. So that is a massive prop line difference. It really doesn't matter my thoughts on Jordan Hawkins. I do think he'll have a good game. Like, I do think I would bet his over here of 21.5, but that doesn't matter. Like, we're just betting both sides of that. We're betting the under 25.5 PRA. We're betting the over 21.5. Hopefully it lands in the middle like it did yesterday for us with Bo for the Suns. Then we look at another one. We do have Trey Alexander, where I do need to apply a little bit more kind of knowledge to this, if you will. Trey Alexander's PRA is set at 25.5, and then we're going to see his underdog line is set at 27.5. So those are the two bets. Obviously, underdog, we're running the unders. Pick 6, we're going to be running the overs. That's the bet of the day right there, guys. If you want to stop, pause the video real quick, hit those bets, and then come back, that's what it's going to be. Now, the thing with Trey Alexander, diving into him a little bit more as a play, we are going to see that he is shooting the basketball more recently, 13 and 12 shot attempts. The first 2 games, only 10. Now, Julian Strawthard played in the first game for sure, and I think that led to now Trey Alexander getting a little bit more run. We saw in the first game only 26 minutes. Now he's gotten 30 plus the last few games. Obviously, we like that. He has been extremely efficient. Again, in terms of scoring, like 13, 12, 10 shot attempts. Not a ton of shot attempts for 19, 18, and 18 points. He has been getting to the free throw line. I mentioned earlier, I don't exactly like betting on the whistle, and he's had 7, 6, and 4. I mean, that's a lot for Summer League, so a little bit worried about that slightly. But at the same time, he's looked good, and I do think that this bet does have a good chance to middle as well. Now, we are getting some lines for Hunter Tyson as well for Denver, and I will say the lines that we're getting for him are kind of interesting given the fact that this is projected to be a pretty low-scoring game. Now, he has been playing a lot of minutes, getting a lot more shot attempts up the last 2 games, specifically 20 and 23 points there. And so I wouldn't mind betting the over there, but at the same time, given the low scoring game, I would, if I had to choose a side, I would be choosing the under there. So probably just as a whole, a bet I'm avoiding. But again, if you were looking to find one small bet that you could make, slight potential for the under of 25.5 points. Again, that's more or less just, all right, is Vegas right about the game lines that we're getting here, about this being a lower scoring game? Then we could be betting the under there. Now, in terms of the other bets that we're getting here, not much there. And then we jump into the last game of the slate. We got OKC versus Dallas, 2.5 point spread. Again, not too crazy of a low scoring game, 177.5. I mean, 3 points is not a lot. I get that, but at the same time, that stuff adds up. Okay. But looking at guys, this is certainly one to pay attention to. So I want to be on 2 players yesterday that ended up being DNPs. They are out for the rest of NBA Summer League. And so with that, we saw Maldonado get a ton of run in that game, 31 minutes. OKC had been a team that was spreading out minutes. He shot the ball 14 times, 11 free throws. Again, good thing, but also don't want to bet on that. And we can just see a little bit of random production. It's very much spread out. And so that's why we're going to see that we're not getting any lines for OKC, because it is a true guessing game. Now, we are getting 2 prop bets here for Dallas. And Prosper has been a guy that I liked. The minutes are there. The production's been there. The shot attempts have been there. Not always hitting the shots, but you got OKC clearly trying to get looks at players at this point. So you got him going against probably G League players, maybe borderline G League players. That's intriguing to me. And so I could potentially see betting is over 23.5 PRA. Like if I had to choose a side, that'd be it. Let me look at AJ Lawson as well. We have his PRA set at 24.5 and his points set at 18.5. Now he is someone as well. Been getting a decent amount of run, been getting a decent amount of shot attempts. Like if we want to maybe potentially run a stack out where we're betting Prosper and Lawson for their overs, I don't mind that approach. Again, probably feels like we're forcing it a little bit. So I will say today does feel like the tightest day that we have had props betting wise. It makes sense. We're further along in the NBA Summer League. That means the books have a little bit more data points. Both PrizePicks and Underdog also have more data points. So we're not going to get as big of edges as we have seemingly had. Again, want to call us out. This is going to be the bet of the day. I don't feel the need to pull it up on the screen here for you guys. Jordan Hawkins under 25.5 PRA on Underdog, and Trey Alexander under 27.5 PRA on Underdog. 1-2 slip bet there. And then on pick 6, we're going to do their overs. Jordan Hawkins over 21.5 PRA. Trey Alexander over his PRA at 25.5. Again, with pick 6, I will be running out a bunch of other bets where it's off by 1, because we should not be getting those players, specifically Jordan Hawkins, off by 4. And so that's a good opportunity for us. And so that's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this coverage. Make sure to give a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. The reason why I didn't want to pull up the pick 6 screenshot is because I don't want everyone just scrolling to the end and just seeing that pick and then betting it all. I want you guys to benefit from it who are actually watching this video and getting the information out of it. Some people are lazy. Some people just scroll and not even watch the video. So I wanted to reward you guys in that way. But thanks for watching, guys. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.